Moving onward to our next session on delivering digital reward experiences, I introduce our speaker, Mr. Santhosh Reddy, co-founder and VP of Tech at ShakePe. Mr. Reddy is a technology leader with 15 years of global experience, specializing in end-to-end technology solutions. He had led multi-million dollar accounts, shaped technology roadmaps, and co-founded Shake Deal as CTO, focusing on solving B2B industry pain points. A huge round of applause for Mr. Santhosh Reddy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, heavy lunch. Same here. But you can't help it. Hopefully, I'll not bore you as much. I mean, first of all, thank you for the opportunity for inviting me to speak about the experience. I mean, so far I've been having a wonderful time. I've interacted with quite a few of them who are present here, and the conversations have been excellent. And considering this is a customer experience event, I'm here to talk about delivering digital reward experiences, right? Now, take any industry, any sector, any company, any enterprise for that matter, there is a little bit of reward associated with, in achieving targets, in rewarding your employees, your stakeholders, and all that, right? Now, there are quite a few people concentrate on, what the reward should be and all that, but very few people concentrate on the reward experience of it, right? So that's what I'm here to talk about. Just to give you a brief, we are ShakePe. I mean, how we started ShakePe? We started in 2016 as Shake Deal, and in 2018 we partnered with Aura Ventures, and after that we created a separate vertical for ShakePe for delivering all these rewards and recognition solutions, right? And just a few stats so far. So far we have dispersed close to 300 CR worth of rewards, 100K, which is 1 lakh end users who have actually used our rewards, and then 100 plus clients, right? Like I said, this is a sector agnostic space. We have interacted with mobile manufacturers, we have auto spares, we have pharma, we have banks, like we have IT, you name it, because like I said, this is a long tail problem, right? So it comes under indirect spend, and that is why it is kind of sector agnostic, it is department agnostics, everyone have some or the other requirement in this particular space. Yes, how do you deliver a great reward experience, especially a digital reward experience, right? Having been in this industry for, let's say, 4 years right now, and having interacted with 100 plus clients, what we have found is that there are 3 important tenets for delivering a great reward experience. We call it the 3 S's of delivering a great reward experience, right? 1, seizing the moment. What does this mean? If you are giving a reward, right, it means that you have taken considerable amount in identifying, how that reward is useful for the stakeholder. But if you don't time it right, then that reward will have no meaning to the stakeholder, right? For example, let's take a simple use case. Someone wants to wish you on a birthday, or someone wants to wish you on a festival, right? If it gets delayed by 1 day, do you think that will serve the intended purpose? Sometimes it will backfire, right? Because you got the days mixed up. And similarly, even let's say for festive wishes, you're sending some gifts. If it doesn't reach on time, it'll lose its significance of it, right? So the most important aspect of delivering a great digital reward experience is to ensure that you seize the moment, you capture the moment, and then once you deliver that experience, you can be 100% sure that the person or the stakeholder whom you have intended the gift to, he will remember that experience, right? So this is very, very important. Second, simple. What do I mean when I say simple? Simple means this is for the person who is responsible for curating this experience, right? For example, let's say you have a marketing team and then they want to incentivize their salespeople, for example, right? Now, they are the ones who are curating it. I mean, we have worked with companies where they have to start the work 3 months before they launch a particular campaign. And that's a lot of time. What does it say? It says that the person who's in charge of curating that experience has to spend so much amount of time and effort for running that particular campaign, right? So if the experience is simple enough for that person who is responsible for curating it, and the experience for the end users will also be great, right? There will be more number of campaigns, and the result can be seen very quickly. The output of it can be seen very quickly. That is the second aspect. And the third is seamless. Seamless is mainly applies to the person who is actually consuming the reward, right? You have intended a reward to a particular stakeholder. The one, when he receives the reward, it's not just important that, okay, he receives the reward, how he receives the reward, and what is the experience he goes through. It needs to be as seamless as possible, and that becomes very, very important, right? So, like I said, these are the three, tenets. Seizing the moment, make it simple for the person who is responsible for curating it, and third, make it as seamless as possible for the person who is actually using the solution, right? Okay, so as ShakePe, I don't want to talk about my products, but instead, what I'll talk about is, because this is about delivering reward experiences, there are a few use cases where we have solved, where we have given a different reward experience for depending on the use case. I want to talk about a couple of them so that you get an idea in the sense that how getting a reward experience is not a generic problem. It needs to be customized and tailored for the use case and for the person who is actually curating this entire experience. So there are 3 use cases which we have identified. One is consumer promotions. I'll talk about it. And then influencer incentivization. It's a big thing now, right? You partner with influencers and you ensure that how are they getting rewarded. And third is channels and sales incentivization, which is basically directly ties to your revenue and bottom line. Consumer promotion. Yeah. So there was a use case where we worked with the largest private bank. Now their problem statement was very, very clear, right? So whenever they wanted to run a consumer promotion, right? So when we talk about a private bank, what are some of the use cases? They wanted to reward someone. Let's say they have credit cards. When a certain amount got spent on a credit card, they want to reward a customer. One use case. And second, it could be through their net banking. When someone uses net banking for doing a particular transaction, they wanted to reward it. Now, the problem statement was basically, first of all, they had to plan it way before in advance. They had to, coordinate with multiple different stakeholders, multiple different teams. And third, the amount of time it took to go live, right? So the intention is to reduce the go live team. So what we did, we gave them a solution, a very simple to use dashboard in the backend, where the person who is responsible can create a campaign. He can say it could be codes, it could be point solution. He can define this is my campaign budget and I need so many codes, right? Which I want to send it to my customers who are rewarded with this. And that needs to flow through different sets of approvals. And once it gets approved, immediately that should be dispersed to all the stakeholders, right? So, and then once that is done, in real time, identify how the campaign is actually doing. What is the total budget? How many codes have been dispersed? And how much budget has been consumed so far? And at the same time, making sure there is a great experience from the end user side, right? Now, once the codes were generated, approved, and distributed, the customer would have received via WhatsApp, email, the code, which is of a particular denomination, and then the brand would have curated a set of brands, right? So we are partnered with 150 to 170 brands, all digital gift vouchers, all real time. And once it is done, it will be verified, it will be tied to their respective mobile number or email ID, OTP will be sent. We call it self-secured activation in the sense that only that person who is responsible for getting the reward will get the reward. Once that is done, immediately he'll be able to see the, he'll get that instant gratification of redeeming it, right? And we are happy to say that, you know, we were able to reduce the goal line cap-in time, you know, from anywhere between 45 to 50 days to less than 5 to 7 days, right? So that was the amount of reduction it took because entirely, the entire process was digital. Yeah, this is again a slightly different use case for a FMCG company. What we did here is basically, this is called, whenever a company launches a new product, right? Those get launched in different supermarts, right? Joe's and more supermarts and all that. Now, how do you get feedback about that particular product when a customer makes a transaction, right? And how do you, until unless there is a reward associated with it, it becomes very difficult to get that feedback from the end customer who is actually buying your product. So what we did, we created a WhatsApp-based campaign. Again, in the back end, the brand got access to, they said, okay, these are all the new SKUs which we are launching. And whenever a purchase has been made at the store, we have to identify whether a purchase has been made and what is the amount of purchase which has been made. And accordingly, there is a rules set in the back end saying that if the transaction amount is, you know, 1,000 rupees, this is the gift, right? Or if they buy 4 different products, this is the gift. There is a rule engine which sits at the back. And the good part about it is that, imagine you are in a superstore right now. There is this guy who's pitching you the product. You buy the product. There is a QR code. You scan it. It immediately opens the WhatsApp channel. It tells you about what the reward, what the campaign is about and all that. You upload the bill. We identify, yes, there are products associated with it. Immediately we'll send him a scratch card, right? And this is a great use case to gather the feedback also, right? The moment they upload the bill, we exactly know what are the kind of products which he has bought. So we send qualifying questions to him, right? Whether, how was your product? I mean, did you like it? When do you usually like to have it? In the mornings, afternoons, evenings? You gather the data and then you send him a scratch card, right? And this scratch card immediately gets, again, a similar process. I'm not sure if there were, you know, QR codes which were left on your table earlier. If you had gone through that experience of redeeming a link, this is very, very similar, right? So a scratch card will be sent to them and gifts will be delivered. Gift vouchers will be delivered to their inboxes. Yeah. Yeah, so another use case, totally different industry, is basically a auto parts OEM manufacturer. Now, this use case was slightly different in the sense that they wanted to gift mechanics, right? Now, if you imagine the persona of a mechanic, you can't really say, okay, you know, use my digital reward, right? Most of them might even not have camera-enabled phones and all that. So the challenge was slightly difficult even for us. So we couldn't really go completely digital way. So we had to do a bit of modification. So we went phygital. So what we did, the one way you can actually reach out to those mechanics is via your distributors, right? So we realized, okay, the distribution has to happen via a distributor. So we defined parameters saying that, okay, where most of the sales is happening, and then we said for each distributor, depending on the volumes of sales and all that, we created these gift vouchers which can be printed on a normal paper, right? And we knew exactly how many gift vouchers to be sent for each of the distributors. And how was it delivered to the distributors? Links. Smart links, we knew each link would have, you know, depending on the number of retailers he is actually talking to, it could be, or mechanics he is talking to, there could be 25, 50, one single link. and we could batch them also, right? Every link will have 20. Once he consumes those 20 gift vouchers, if he has handed it over, and then we'll go to the next batch, which is the next 20. And the good thing about that is that he could easily print these in his printer. All the instructions were there for them, right? And he could actually show it, in real world, how to exactly use this. And then people who we had this, beautiful video made on how to redeem this particular thing. So again, even though this was not entirely digital, so to say, but the way we approached it and then reduced the campaign time, because entirely, at least for reaching the distributors, it was very quick, right? Yeah, so this, another mobile brand manufacturer, for them the use case is whenever they launch a mobile, before launching the mobile, right? So they get it extensively tested. And the testers are different platforms, they use different mobiles, they're spread all over the country and all that. So they also wanted to design a campaign where, depending on the number of bugs or the priority of the bugs, what they report, certain number of rewards will be given to them. And they were very particular that everything needs to be in their branding, right? Which is, I mean, if you're talking to a large brand, which is usually the case. So what we did, again, we helped them launch a WhatsApp-based program. The moment a bug gets reported, it goes through a triage, and then depending on the priority and all that, immediately points will be allocated to the tester. He can keep on accumulating the points. We have, like I said, we have a curated set of 170 brands with us. Whenever he is comfortable and let's say he wants to redeem those points, he can actually redeem it to any of those brands. And then immediately, again, for him, as far as he's concerned, he doesn't really have to bother about, let's say, log into a particular portal, check my points and everything. All he needs is a valid WhatsApp account, and then he can easily redeem those points. Yeah. Yeah, so I think one of the new buzzwords, what we are hearing is about embedded loyalty. What does it mean, right? So all the other use cases I spoke about was, where there was a different platform, which was ShakePe's platform or solution, which was there. But what if you already have a platform? It could be a learning management system, it could be an app, it could be a portal, whatever it is, right? But you want to integrate loyalty into your system. How do you do that? So here again, we worked with a leading fintech firm. The way it works is pretty simple. We defined what is called as actions, right? Now, this was slightly integrated because they already have a platform. So our platform needs to integrate in their platform, right? So the way we went about it is, we give them a dashboard where they'll create a campaign. Campaigns can be different types, milestones, target-based and all that. This was more of an action-based campaign. What does that mean? You define, for example, let's say, if a user signs up, that's an action. You give him so many points, right? And let's say he makes a transaction. You give him so many points. He refers someone. You give him so many points. The good thing about this is, you define the campaign once. And you identify, okay, these are my action points right now. 3, 4, whatever it is. But once the campaign goes live, at the end of it, we give them what? A campaign ID. What is the action? And we don't even want to know too much about your users. Like I said, we work with banks and all that, who are very, very wary about, sharing too much of details, right? Of customer details and all that. All we need is an identifier through which we can identify the user. That's about it. The moment that is done, whenever he completes a first action, we'll create a wallet for him. From that point onwards, as and when he completes the actions, we keep on adding the points. And when he reaches certain points, again, we have a white label redemption platform where through SSO, automatically all the points will be transferred there. He can utilize those points against any of his favorite brand gift vouchers, right? Like I said, the good thing about this is, tomorrow, the campaign is live, but you have identified a new action right now. Let's say you have launched a new plan and you want the user to buy a new plan. It's as simple as you define that new action, you define what the rules are, how many points and how the points has to be distributed, and then that's it. You make it live. That action, the moment that action gets completed, so many points will be allocated to the user, right? Yeah, so these are all some of the use cases. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions or clarifications with respect to delivering a great reward experience, we'll be here. We have a stall outside. And if you guys haven't, scanned the QR code, please do so. At least you get a flavor of what the entire experience is about. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Santhosh Reddy, for sharing your experience on delivering digital reward experiences. To do the felicitation, I would like to invite on the dais Ms. Anamika Chatterjee, Head of Customer Service Retail Finance at Hero FinCorp.